The human exploration ship Quiet Dawn moved slowly through open space. Its engines were low and steady, not made for war, only for travel. Inside, the crew watched calm lights and silent screens. This mission was not about power. It was about learning. Humans had left their home system many years ago, moving step by step into the dark, hoping they were not alone. Captain Robert Hale stood near the front screen. He was not a loud man. He spoke little and listened more. Around him were people from many parts of Earth, but they worked as one crew. They trusted routines, shared duties, and clear thinking. Fear was natural, but panic was not useful. This was the first meeting with the Alien Alliance. Long-range signals had been polite and careful. The aliens spoke of order, trade, and shared borders. Their ships were large and smooth, shaped with perfect lines. Everything about them looked planned and controlled. From the alien side, humans looked small. Their ships were rough and simple. Their systems were old by galactic standards. Alien leaders believed humans were weak but useful. Humans could explore dangerous regions, mine difficult worlds, and take risks others would not. In alien councils, humans were described as helpers, not equals. At first, the meetings were calm. Messages were exchanged. Star maps were shared with limits. The Alien Alliance set clear rules. Humans agreed even when some rules felt unfair. They wanted peace. They wanted time. But small problems began to grow. An alien ship once moved too close to a human research station. The alien captain said it was an accident. Humans believed him, but they adjusted their patrol paths. Another time, an alien trade officer changed terms without warning. Human diplomats asked for explanation. The reply was cold but polite. Trust became thin. Captain Hale felt it even without words. Space felt quieter now, heavier. He ordered longer watches and quiet drills. No alarms. No speeches. Just preparation. Then the convoy incident happened. 3 human transport ships were moving between systems. They carried medical tools, food, and machine parts for colonies. They had no weapons worth naming. They followed Alliance routes and sent all required signals. An alien patrol appeared without warning. At first, the alien ships only watched. Their weapons stayed dark, but their engines moved closer. The human convoy slowed and sent greetings. No answer came back. Lieutenant Mark Evans stood at the sensor station. His hands were steady as he read the data. Too close, he said calmly. They are locking movement fields. Captain Hale nodded once. Keep signals open, he said. No sudden changes. On the alien ships, commanders watched the humans. They expected fear. They expected confusion. Humans were new. Humans were soft. This was meant to be a test. One alien ship fired a warning pulse. It struck the lead human transport. The impact was controlled but strong enough to damage engines. The ship began to drift. Silence filled the quiet dawn. No one screamed. No one ran. Captain Hale spoke clearly. Damage report. Engines offline, came the reply. Life support stable. Detach escort drones, Hale said. Form shield pattern. Prepare tow. The crew moved as one. They had trained for loss. They had trained for surprise. Fear was present, but it stayed inside. Outside there was only action. Instead of firing back, the humans protected the damaged ship. Small drones moved into position, using their own bodies to block further hits. Other transports adjusted speed and angle, not to escape but to stay together. The alien patrol paused. This was not the reaction they expected. Alien commanders spoke quickly among themselves. The models predicted chaos. Human ships should scatter. Human voices should rise in panic. Instead, humans moved with slow care like builders fixing a broken bridge under rain. Another alien ship fired, stronger this time. The pulse struck a drone and destroyed it. Debris spread across space. On the human bridge, a young officer named Helen Moore closed her eyes for 1 second. Then she opened them and continued working. They are testing limits, she said. They want response. Captain Hale thought for a moment. Then he made a choice. Redirect power, he said. Signal all nearby Alliance channels. Send full recording. Do not jam. Do not threaten. The message went out. Clear. Open. Honest. We are under attack. We are not hostile. We request explanation. The alien commanders did not reply. They had not planned for witnesses. The patrol leader ordered a ceasefire. The ships pulled back slightly, weapons cooling. On the damaged human transport, engineers worked with limited tools. They shared tasks without orders. One held a cable. Another sealed a crack. A third spoke calmly to frightened passengers. Hours passed. Finally, Alien Command sent a message. Short. Cold. Incident under review. Patrol withdraws. The alien ships turned and left. No victory cheers followed. No celebrations. Humans finished repairs, checked the injured, and continued their journey. They logged everything. They shared data with other fleets. They updated plans. On a distant alien station, leaders watched the recordings. They replayed the moment again and again. Humans did not act like expected prey. They did not fight, but they did not beg. They protected each other first. They planned under pressure. This confused the models. One alien analyst spoke quietly. They do not value survival the same way. Another replied, they value group survival over individual command. The council noted this. They did not yet fear it. They still believed control was possible. Captain Hale filed his report that night. He did not write about anger. He wrote about clarity. About how people became steady when tested. About how calm was stronger than fear. He looked at the stars outside the window. They were the same stars humans had watched from Earth long ago. Still distant. Still cold. He knew something had changed. This was not just contact anymore. This was the beginning of learning, on both sides. The aliens had seen human calm under threat. They had not yet understood it. But the seed was planted. And one day it would grow into fear. The war did not begin with a loud warning. It began with silence. Human stations stopped answering calls. Trade routes went dark. A colony near the edge of explored space vanished from the maps. At first, leaders hoped it was a mistake or a failure. Then the reports came. Alien fleets were moving with purpose. Not to speak. Not to test. To take control. Human worlds were not ready. The first battles were losses. Simple ships faced advanced weapons. Human defenses failed again and again. Cities burned from orbit. Ports were destroyed before alarms could finish sounding. Millions were forced to flee with only what they could carry. But humanity did not collapse. On the command ship Iron Path, Officer Thomas Reed studied a broken tactical display. Half the data was gone. The rest was late or wrong. By alien standards, the situation was already lost. Thomas did not wait for perfect orders. He gathered the captains around him, not in a grand hall, but in a narrow room filled with noise and heat. "We don't hold this line," he said calmly. "We bend it." Some officers looked unsure. Others nodded at once. Human ships broke formation. They moved in small groups, then split again. They used asteroids for cover. They cut engines and drifted silent. They attacked supply ships instead of warships. They lost ground, but they learned. Pilot Jack Miller flew an old fighter with patched armor and mixed parts. The ship rattled when it turned too fast. He had no full map, only guesses and instincts. "Target moved," his wingmate said. "I know," Jack replied. "That's fine." He changed direction mid-flight, breaking all planned paths. His fighter slipped between enemy fire, not because it was faster but because it was unexpected. He destroyed a sensor array and escaped with one engine burning. Every battle was different. Alien commanders grew frustrated. Their plans depended on prediction. Humans did not repeat actions. If one path failed, they changed it. If one leader fell, another stepped forward without ceremony. On damaged worlds, civilians became part of the war. Factories stopped making tools for trade and began making parts for ships. Teachers helped train repair crews. Farmers shared fuel and food with fleets passing through. Children carried messages when systems failed. Information moved faster than command. A woman named Laura Finch ran a small relay station on a moon with no weapons. When alien scouts appeared, she did not shut down. She rerouted signals through civilian channels, sending warnings across systems. Her station was destroyed hours later, but the fleets it warned survived. Humans began to fight as networks, not armies. Thomas Reed watched reports arrive from places he had never been. None followed the same plan. Some were risky. Some failed. But lessons spread quickly. Mistakes became shared knowledge. Alien fleets won many battles. They took worlds and broke defenses. Still, the war did not end. Human losses were heavy, but their resistance did not weaken. It changed shape. Alien commanders met in growing tension. Their models showed that fear should slow humans. Loss should cause surrender. Instead, humans fought harder after each defeat, not with anger but with focus. One commander said, "They act without central control." Another replied, "They replace control with trust." This made no sense to them. In one system, alien forces prepared a trap using perfect timing. They predicted human response within seconds. When the battle began, humans did not arrive as expected. They came early then late then not at all. Instead, small human teams disabled navigation points and vanished. The trap failed. Jack Miller survived 3 crashes and kept flying. Each time, a different crew helped rebuild his ship. No one asked for rank. They only asked what was needed. Thomas Reed lost friends and ships. He did not stop giving orders, but he learned when to let go. Sometimes the best choice was to allow others to decide. Humans no longer waited for permission to adapt. Alien commanders began to feel uneasy. They were winning ground but losing certainty. Every victory cost more. Every human retreat led to unexpected strikes elsewhere. The war spread wider. Human worlds burned, but humanity did not break. They did not fight for control of space. They fought for each other. And for the first time, the Alien Alliance began to ask a quiet question they had never asked before. What if humans could not be forced to submit? The war no longer had a clear center. It spread like a slow fire across many systems, touching worlds that had never seen battle before. From a distance, human forces looked broken. Their fleets moved without clean lines. Their messages overlapped and crossed. There was no single command voice guiding them. The Alien Alliance believed this meant weakness. Their models showed human formations as unstable. Supply lines looked messy. Retreats happened often. To the alien commanders, it looked like collapse moving one step at a time. But the models were wrong. On a crowded station near a dying star, Emily Carter worked without rest. She was not a general. She did not wear heavy armor or stand on bridges during battle. Her job was coordination. She listened, connected, and decided. Half her screens showed wounded ships arriving from the front. The other half showed maps of nearby colonies under threat. She moved between them calmly, giving short instructions. Send medical teams first, she said to one channel. Delay that defense line, she said to another. Evacuate before you hold. Some officers questioned her choices. Giving up ground felt like failure. Emily did not argue. She showed them numbers. She showed them faces. We can rebuild stations, she said quietly. We can't rebuild people. Human units began to move differently. When alien fleets advanced, humans did not always meet them head-on. Sometimes they pulled back, opening space and letting worlds fall empty. Cities went dark, but transports were full. Families escaped together. Records, tools, and knowledge moved with them. The aliens claimed victory. Then the strikes came. Human ships appeared where models said they should not exist. Small fleets attacked fuel depots and command relays. Alien supply ships vanished in regions marked as safe. Communication lagged. Orders arrived too late. The aliens adjusted their predictions. The humans changed again. In one system, a human defense force abandoned 3 moons without a fight. Alien commanders moved in carefully, expecting traps. They found nothing. The moons were empty. Days later, human teams returned. They did not attack ships. They destroyed navigation points and vanished. Alien fleets were forced to slow, spread out, and wait. Emily Carter watched the results on her screens. She did not smile. Losses were still high. Too high. But people were alive. That mattered. Human soldiers learned to accept retreat as part of survival, not shame. A ground unit on a mining world fell back through tunnels while civilians escaped above. The soldiers sealed the tunnels behind them, cutting off the enemy advance. The world was lost, but thousands lived. Weeks later, those same soldiers joined a strike group that hid an alien command hub 2 systems away. No one expected them there. The attack lasted minutes. Then they were gone. Alien analysts replayed the data again and again. Human behavior did not match known patterns. They did not defend territory at all costs. They defended people. When the people were safe, territory lost meaning. This broke the models. Alien commanders grew frustrated. They demanded clearer answers. They ordered tighter control, stricter plans, and faster punishments for failure. But tighter control made them slower. Stricter plans made them predictable. Humans noticed. A pilot named Aaron Lewis flew escort for evacuation ships. His orders were simple: protect transports, avoid engagement if possible. During one run, alien fighters appeared ahead, blocking the path. Aaron did not wait for command. He cut engines and dropped below sensor range. Other pilots followed. The transports slowed and drifted, hidden by debris. When alien fighters passed, expecting panic, they found nothing. Later, those same human pilots attacked from behind, striking engines and fleeing before response could form. Every battle added another crack to alien certainty. Emily Carter coordinated relief ships into systems under fire while directing defenses in others. She slept in short breaks, sometimes on the floor. When a station lost power, she used handwritten notes and runners. When channels failed, she used civilian networks. Human resistance did not stop when systems went dark. It changed shape. Alien commanders began to argue openly. Some believed humans were irrational and would burn themselves out. Others feared something worse. "They are not fighting to win space," one commander said. "They are fighting to deny control." That idea spread unease. In one major engagement, alien forces planned a perfect encirclement. Human fleets were meant to be trapped and destroyed. The plan relied on humans choosing to defend a central world. They did not. Humans evacuated the world early, leaving behind automated signals and empty defenses. Alien fleets moved in confident. While they secured the empty prize, human forces struck their rear systems, cutting supply and isolating ships. The encirclement closed on nothing. Alien losses mounted. Emily Carter received a message from a small colony thought lost weeks earlier. The people had survived underground with limited air and food. A civilian ship, guided by shared maps and local signals, reached them just in time. Emily allowed herself one deep breath. Then she returned to work. Across the Alliance, alien models were rewritten again and again. Each update failed faster than the last. Human choice could not be reduced to fixed paths. Their willingness to sacrifice land for life, then return with force, broke every rule. The war was no longer just about weapons. It was about understanding. And the aliens were losing that battle completely. The Alien Alliance decided the war had gone on long enough. Their losses were not acceptable. Their plans no longer held shape. They chose one final answer, a single massive strike meant to break humanity in one blow. Fleets gathered from many systems. Their ships formed perfect lines, glowing with power. The target was not one world but many at once. Communication hubs, shipyards, and refugee routes were marked for destruction. The plan was simple. Cut the human networks. Leave them blind and alone. The attack began without warning. Human sensors filled with noise. Signals overlapped and vanished. Command channels failed across systems. Messages arrived late or not at all. Some fleets lost contact with everyone they knew. For a moment, fear spread. Then people acted. Without orders, human crews turned to each other. Small groups formed naturally. People trusted the ones beside them. Rank mattered less than skill. Whoever knew what to do did it. On a crowded transport station near a blue star, Anna Brooks watched evacuation lines stretch farther than she could see. Children cried. Elders moved slowly. Ships were few. Time was short. Anna did not wait for permission. She divided the crowd into smaller groups and assigned volunteers to each one. Teachers, medics, and dock workers stepped forward. They moved people calmly, speaking softly, keeping panic from spreading. "When you board, sit and stay quiet," Anna told them. "We will get as many out as we can." Above the station, alien ships appeared like dark shadows. At the same time, on a nearby mining world, David Harris stood in a broken control room. Half the systems were dead. The planet had no real defenses left. Only old machines and damaged shields remained. David had been an engineer before the war. Now he was something else. He gathered workers, not soldiers, and showed them what could still be used. "We don't stop them," he said. "We slow them." They turned mining lasers into crude weapons. They rerouted power through unstable paths. They created false signals and heat shadows. It was messy. It was dangerous. It worked. Alien ships moved carefully, confused by readings that did not make sense. Some fired too early. Others waited too long. Human defenses struck and vanished, never staying in one place. Across the system, similar stories unfolded. Human ships lost contact with command but not with purpose. Pilots shared targets by sight and instinct. Ground teams defended evacuation routes instead of cities. No one waited for perfect plans. The alien fleet pushed harder. Their technology was still superior. Their weapons hit harder. But they relied on clean data and fast decisions. Now their data was broken and their decisions slowed by doubt. At Anna's station, the last transport prepared to leave. It was already overloaded. Anna stood at the door, counting heads. "Go," she said at last. The ship launched as alien fire struck the station. Anna was thrown to the floor. Smoke filled the halls. She helped the wounded stand and led them to emergency shelters. They would not all survive, but many already had. On the mining world, David's team triggered their final defense. A shield failed on purpose, releasing a surge that blinded nearby alien ships for seconds. In that time, human strike groups attacked, destroying engines and command nodes. Alien losses increased rapidly. Commanders tried to regain control, but the situation moved too fast. Human groups appeared, struck, and disappeared. There was no pattern to follow. No center to destroy. The final strike turned into chaos. Alien ships began to fall back, damaged and confused. Some collided. Others were abandoned. Human forces paid a heavy price, but they held. When the attack ended, silence returned slowly. Human networks reconnected piece by piece. Messages arrived filled with loss and survival. No one claimed victory. There were no speeches. But the alien fleet was broken. Despite superior technology, they had failed. Their final strike had shown them something they could no longer ignore. Humans did not need control to fight. They needed trust. And that made them dangerous. The war did not end with a final battle. It ended with absence. Human sensors slowly began to show empty space where alien fleets once moved. Patrol routes went quiet. Listening posts detected only fading signals and distant engine trails. At first, human commanders feared a trick. They waited. They watched. The aliens did not return. Across many systems, damaged human ships drifted into safe zones. Rescue crews worked without rest. Medics treated the wounded with tools that barely functioned. Engineers rebuilt stations piece by piece. No one asked who had won. They only asked who was still alive. Humanity had survived. On a quiet station near Earth's outer colonies, Anna Brooks sat beside a window. The glass was cracked, patched with metal lines. Outside, stars burned softly. She watched a transport dock slowly, carrying refugees who had nowhere else to go. She remembered the screams, the smoke, the moments when she thought there would not be enough time. She also remembered strangers stepping forward to help without being asked. Those memories stayed with her more than the fear. On another world, David Harris walked through a rebuilt control room. The walls were new, but the air still smelled of burned circuits. People worked together in silence, sharing tools and food. David stopped to help lift a heavy panel. No one called him a leader. They did not need to. The war had changed how humans saw themselves. They no longer believed safety came from strong walls or perfect plans. Safety came from people who chose to act, even when afraid. Far from human space, inside alien territory, records were sealed and rewritten. Councils met in quiet chambers. Commanders spoke with careful words. The final report was simple. Humans were not dangerous because of strength. Their ships were weaker. Their weapons were crude. Their numbers were limited. Humans were dangerous because of choice. They did not obey fear the way others did. They did not protect land over life. They did not stop when plans failed. They changed. They adapted. They trusted each other without needing control. The alien alliance withdrew not because they were defeated in every battle, but because they could no longer predict the cost of winning. Across the galaxy, the story spread slowly. Traders whispered it. Scouts recorded it. Smaller species listened carefully. Humans could not be controlled. They could not be predicted. They could not be safely underestimated. On Earth, rebuilding began. Cities rose with simpler designs. Power returned in uneven lines. Schools reopened in temporary halls. Children learned history that was still fresh and painful. No statues were built for heroes. Too many people had carried the weight together. Thomas Reed retired quietly. He lived near a coast that had once been a battlefield. He watched ships leave the sky and felt no pride, only relief. Humanity was still here. That was enough. Emily Carter returned to coordination work, but now it was about healing, not war. She helped connect worlds again, sharing supplies and knowledge. Her screen still filled with problems, but they were different ones. Jack Miller flew one last time, escorting a convoy of builders to a damaged colony. His old fighter finally rested. He did not miss the noise. He missed the people. Humanity did not celebrate the war's end loudly. They remembered too much. Instead, they worked. They shared. They rebuilt. And in distant alien archives, one final note was added beneath humanity's record. This species survives pressure not by control, but by refusal to surrender choice. The galaxy took note. Quietly. Carefully. And for the first time, the world beyond Earth learned to fear humans, not for what they had, but for what they would always choose to be.